Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. This week's video, I wanted to give a little update on how our Africa unit from Gather Round Homeschool went. This was our second time through, and I made a couple of pretty big changes just to liven it up, but also to kind of prepare my kids for some of the things that I felt are really, that's my dog, sorry. And of course, the moment you start something, then they have to like shake and be really loud. I really wanted to start preparing my children for some of the things that they're going to need, and I felt like this was the perfect opportunity. So I'm going to leave that video linked down below. I explain all of that. But I wanted to chat a little bit about it now that it's done, so that if you thought that that might be an interesting idea that you were interested in, then you have the, how did it go, Jamie? So I am really happy and like just really thrilled that it worked out the way it did. I'm really glad that I thought to do it at the very beginning of the year. You have such a big break. We take a summer break because most of my children's classmates are in the brick and mortar school, so I want us to be more available for play dates and stuff like that that are going to happen more in the summer. So we had like a good rest, and now it was time to get into school again, and so you're refreshed, rejuvenated. And so some of the things that we did, doing it on the regular all the way through the school year, I don't think would be a long-term thing that I would do. But for the first initial year that we're going to be doing this, I'm proud with how it went. I'm proud of my girls and how they did. So we filled up an entire duotang filled with their research projects. So if you didn't watch the other video, I've left it down below, but I'll give a short, quick, fast thing. I wanted my children, because Gather Round Homeschool only has 20 lessons to talk about an entire continent, I wanted to do 10 of the Gather Round Homeschool ones and 10 of ones that they built in their own duotang as a team together. And the purpose was to teach them how to do research, because a lot of the stuff that we do, they don't have to do research for. We do IEW, they provide the pages to work off of. My youngest daughter doesn't really even type, and so it was one of those things that I wanted them to do, but then I also wanted them to work together as a team. And I know that in the school, a brick and mortar school, you get paired up often with your classmates to work on projects. And so it was for them to get to know how that process works, work together with someone, even if your abilities are vastly different. I wanted a lot of those skills to transfer, and they truly, truly did. So I'm really happy with how it went. I'm also glad that it was done after 6 weeks. So my plan is, at this point, is to do all of the connecting continents from Gather Round Homeschool at the very beginning of the rest of the years that my girls are in school. Sienna will have a year or two after, but I feel like that's fine because then she can focus more on high school. I feel like Anara will be great and able to handle all of that. I also made sure the things that they researched were things that they were interested in. They had one thing that they were interested in, one thing that they might not have cared about, but needed to explain what the history and culture of this particular country was. But Miss Sienna did all animals because she loves everything cute and fuzzy and that. So she did the animals, and then she wrote a paragraph. Also, I wanted them to transfer the skills they learned from IEW doing keyword outlines to a research project. You see where I'm going with this, right? If I teach my kids the steps to do a research project, then when they get into high school and the teacher or me, or their online teacher if we choose to go that route. Whatever we choose to do is then available to, like, they'll know how to do it without being nervous or scared of it or overwhelmed by it. They'll have an idea of what they're supposed to do. Another thing that I wanted, so Inara did the food, and I guess you can't really see that, but she would get recipes for all of these different food items, and then she would write different things. So Sienna did history and culture, and Inara did you know interesting fact type of things. And then I really highlighted that they needed to make sure that all of the places where they got their information was properly referenced in the back. So I thought about doing a lot more like books, like where you go to the library and look things up, but I found that our library was a little bit lacking, and to bring them in, because there's an interlibrary, it takes a long time sometimes to bring those books in, and it was just not worth it. So most of the research that they did was online, but I don't feel like that is in any way, shape, or form a bad thing, because let's face it, most people are looking up things online and not visiting a library. So I think I can probably teach that or show that, but this was the main thing that I wanted to share. But we now have 10 more countries, sorry I knocked the table, 10 more countries from Africa, and I feel like we still didn't get to all of them, but I felt like it was such even more broad way to look at it. It just worked so well. So this is something that I'm definitely going to be keeping up with. I'm definitely going to be passing. So, I also need to explain, I am not going to be doing Antarctica again. Mainly because I felt like Antarctica was a very much history based. The discoveries, the challenge of getting to the South Pole, that sort of thing was definitely in there. But when you're talking about continents with this country and this country and this country and their different cultures and stuff like that, Antarctica doesn't really have any of that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when I said that there's 4 more that we're going to be doing, we're leaving Antarctica off of that list. So I'm thrilled with it. I think that I also didn't spend a lot of time correcting grammar and whatever. This was strictly from the point of view of allowing my girls to learn how this process works at their individual levels. Sienna's spelling is atrocious. And we're still working on that, but even that, I just was like, the point of this is to show them how to do research projects and to work together as a team while also learning geography. So nothing was a waste of time. Then as the years progress, we're going to be expecting a little bit more in the way of spelling and grammar and properly putting things together, making it look proper. I did spend a lot of time in the early days of doing this with my kids, showing them what it looked like, and then being hands off towards the end. It was like the slow process of mommy pulling her fingers away. But I think that it worked out well, and so I'm really excited to share that. If you are like me and go, I don't necessarily want to go over the same information, not all of it anyway, because we did do 10 of the lessons as it was. I chose to do those 10 lessons on days when I knew we had something going on in the evening. So if we had choir or we had dance, those were not the days that we were doing the research project. It was always on days where I knew if it took longer because of disagreements or or struggles or something like that, then we had the time to devote to that and to finish it up and get done. So I am really thrilled with how it went. I think that this is a great way in a homeschool setting to teach some of those skills that we might not even think to do sometimes. The preparation for high school has become really forefront on my mind, as I'm trying to plan for this coming year when my daughter's in grade 9, and trying to make sure that she has all the tools in her tool belt so that she isn't like, well, Mom, you never taught me how to do that. I don't want that. I don't want that. But I do want her to feel like, even if it's a new thing from a new teacher or a new curriculum or whatever that she's not sure about, that I can always say, this is how it's done, this is what the expectation is. And that 20, 30 page paper, I don't know, in high school, I seem to remember there was at least one big project where I had to write like a 10, 15, 20 page paper. Anyway, if that comes up, they're not like deer in headlights going, I don't know what to do, or they're getting marked off because they're not writing down their references or whatever. I want them to be equipped. So Sienna's ahead of the game because she kind of has an idea of that, and Nara now has a lot of the tools that she can use. And I just love when you can take another curriculum like IEW and transfer those skills over to something that isn't related. We did not do any IEW while we were doing this. I felt like we were already practicing those skills, especially in the what do you call it, the kits. Quiet on set. That's not quiet. Sorry. The skills that they have in the kits for the IEW structure and style, they have a whole bunch of information, but the very first few lessons are just review. And so I felt like we had done review and then we're doing more review, and it's like, it's good. It's good to be able to have that down. We didn't worry about like any of the dress ups or anything like that. It was strictly, this is what this project is for. And like I said, I think that at the end of the day, they have a way better grasp of geography than I did when I left high school. So I'm thrilled with how it went. I hope that this video has been helpful if you were wondering how you might do another gather round unit a second time or a third time. For me, it was, I needed to do something a little bit different and build on the skills that I saw maybe my children hadn't learned yet, and that was how I did it. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that it has been a helpful one. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.